Hey guys, why we're standing by the elk again is because today we're going to go over, like you just saw, the frontal shot.
Well, if you've watched some videos, you've seen us do it a few times before. Yeah. We're definitely not afraid of that shot.
And that's come over the years. Back in the day, we were afraid of that shot.
Yep.
We would never take that shot, and until it got a little bit more, I guess, that we'd looked at the anatomy.
Yeah, been around the elk, kind of knew what was going on, when and where, and more opportunities presented itself in a certain situation, we've taken a shot. It's not for everybody.
Being in Roosevelt country and thick as it is around here, there's a lot of times they'll just poke their head out, as you saw with Casey's bull.
Yep.
And I mean, that's sometimes all you get. And to capitalize on every situation that you can on the animal, if you know the anatomy, could be the difference between punching your tag and not. We're gonna go over a few brief things with the frontal shots that we've done. And I'll be totally honest, over the years, I will not shoot the frontal shot over 25, 30 yards. I just...
Yeah, 25.
You have a, not a chew can, but you have a miniature basketball.
Yep.
I just don't feel comfortable taking it at long ranges by any means, but at close range, when you're dialed in and you know your bow and you're shooting good, I mean, it's a deadly shot. They usually die within 30 yards. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I think with the frontal shot is knowing the anatomy, being around it, looking at it, processing them all, and understand the dynamics of the arrow and what's going on with the shot. My personal preference, honestly, is shooting not a head-on frontal shot, but a quartering to type frontal shot in front of the shoulder blade. Yeah. And you have a better chance of both lungs scenario. But on a frontal shot, like you saw Trent's bull in Wyoming this year, that bull moved during that scenario. So, all of a sudden the penetration scenario and going into the cavity where all the goodies are didn't happen. But
yeah. And I hit like right here, I would say. Came through. I mean, this isn't the greatest target actually to do all this on, but it kind of gives you an idea. And the arrow went in about this much. If you come over on this side, you can see the lungs obviously are back here. My arrow probably went in that far. I didn't get all the way into the cavity like this. And that's why that bull went so far. I just cut the top of his lungs. He was going uphill. He could still breathe. That bull went a long ways, but it finally ended up expiring. And I think, honestly, Corey Jacobson on my bull, he said it best. We'll play that for you guys. Okay, guys, I was an idiot, and I pulled out this arrow when we came up to it for pictures, but I just wanted to briefly go through with you. Corey is like an expert on the frontal shot. He's killed quite a few bulls. They usually go 40 yards.
Not too far.
Briefly show them exactly where you want to hit and what you're looking for when it's a frontal shot, if you would. Just, yeah, it'd be awesome.
So there's a couple things. First off, you've got the sternum right here, which is where it goes from dark to light. You don't want to shoot there. That sternum's where all the ribs come together, and you've got a solid mass of rib right there. You want to be above that. And the thing to remember is on a broadside shot, you want to be center of the body. So when you bring that around to frontal, you want to be same area. So right up here, about 9 inches above the sternum, above that lump you see there, you want to be about 9 inches above that. And you want to hit it straight on so that arrow comes into the body cavity. If you shoot at an angle, you can glance over inside the shoulder blade, and that arrow can actually come out behind the shoulder blade and not even get in the cavity. The other thing you want to miss is this great big lump right here. That's his shoulder bone. That bone right there, you'll get no penetration if you hit it or if you angle into it. So front on, 9 inches above the sternum, right there. It looks like it's in the throat. That's going to put the arrow right here, center of the lungs. On Trent, perfect height. That hole right there is money. The arrow actually came in at a little angle. The bull whirled just a little bit, and so it didn't get full penetration into the body cavity, but it got plenty to get inside that diaphragm and do all the damage it needed to do. So that thoracic opening, front of the elk, is about 7 inches by 9 inches. And if you can hit that hole, you've got a free pass into every vital inside that elk's body. If you're looking at quartered on, is it slightly quartering to you? The thing you've got to remember is you've got this shoulder bone right here. The leg bone actually comes back, angles up, and then attaches to the shoulder blade. If you hit that, you're not getting any penetration, no vitals at all. So you want to make sure on a quarter-2 shot that you're missing that bone, but not going at such a sharp angle that you aren't getting inside the body cavity. So you want to make sure that if there is an angle, it's a slight angle. You're on the inside here, penetrating behind the offside shoulder.
Don't look where you're going to shoot, look where the arrow's going to end up.
Totally, and that's, you know, you can look at an elk, and on a 3D elk target, you've got the vital drawn right there.
Yep.
But if you're shooting at different angles, up, down, everything, that's not necessarily where the heart's going to be or the lungs are going to be. On the frontal, it's the same thing. You want to see where your arrow's going to end up, and that might change a little bit on the aiming point.
Because his neck may be down or up, or however he's postured.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And I think like the big thing ahead of time is like, don't do something you're not comfortable with. Don't force it if it's something that you don't feel confident in. If you know exactly where your arrow's going to hit and you know exactly where you need to shoot it, and it's a lethal shot, do that. But like Trent said, you know, distance is a factor for us. 20, 25 yards. Like, prefer it inside of that. And a lot of times those calling scenarios, the bull comes in and it isn't a head-on situation. That's your only opportunity, and you've got to kill him the first opportunity you can. So those elk's lungs sit mid-body, height-wise, here across. There is, you know, from the top of the spine down, probably a 9-inch span to the lungs. So then as you come up, you have the objective of the brisket right there. The common mistake made on a frontal shot is shooting them too low in that brisket. You basically have this opening channel mid-body height-wise here. So it's hard sometimes to tell that frontal, and a lot of times the angle of what that elk is doing, you know, terrain-wise, if it's uphill or downhill, is going to dictate where you're going to be aiming at that. But basically, you're looking for center mass height-wise on the dead-on frontal. And if you are shooting a quartering on shot, you do have a little bit more room because you're not going to hit this brisket bone in that lower third as well. But basically, you don't want to be below that third mark up to the half. So basically a 8-inch window there height-wise. Casey shot his bull opening day at Oregon, and I told him we're in thick stuff, chances are it's gonna be super close, and it came out frontal 6 or 7 yards, and he made the shot. You know, it was shooting it downhill. He came in right here, and arrow penetrated, you know, about 24 inches, and that bull expired quick. We didn't have good blood for the first little bit, so we backed out for the morning. But like I said, he executed a frontal, never done it before. He was not, we talked through it, practiced it, and he executed it. So it's one, Casey's killed a lot of bulls, and he had never done that shot before. Another thing, in the first week of Oregon, Trevor took his buddy Nate out, and Nate executes, like he actually waited for that bull, moved down the hill, and makes a perfect shot. It looks like it doesn't penetrate, but that arrow actually goes in and comes back out, which is pretty typical a lot of times in a frontal shot, that, you know, it'll come in, hit that offside shoulder or back, and then come back out as this shoulder slings forward. So he hit it perfect, took out the top of the heart, bull went 10 yards, died right there.
Yeah. So like Cody was saying, mine in Wyoming this year, I had a pretty good height. I thought it was just about right as far as the height goes, but as you can see, we'll slow-mo it way down, and that bull just starts to whirl. And that's another reason, as far as distance-wise, why we don't try to shoot over 25 yards, is because there is a lot of movement an elk can do in that time that bow goes off to when that arrow gets there. And on the frontal shot, you want to be like precision of where you're going to hit. That bull whirls right as I shoot. I came in, and I was actually honestly hugging this right shoulder is where the arrow came. So instead of going straight in like this, the arrow was cocked just a little bit, and so it went right inside of the shoulder blade in the cavity there, and didn't get a ton of penetration because that elk was moving at the same time that the arrow hit it. Mine in Colorado, a few years ago, something like that. What you can't see there is that shot, it was about 27 yards, I think, is what that shot was. It was really, really, really steep. I shot it for 20. It doesn't really look on film that it's so steep, but it is like I was shooting about like that, is what it felt like. I aimed, it was pretty much center mass. It was looking downhill at me. I aimed actually a little bit lower on that, and it went right above the brisket, and it was dead within, shoot, that bull
30 yards, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't go very far at all. Steve's bull was kind of the same way. It was coming in, but it was really, I forget how close it was. It was close.
I think it was like 7 yards.
Super close. And so he followed the bull as it came in and shot that bull. I think it went probably 60 yards, 70 yards probably.
And that was more of a quartered on angle.
Yeah.
And he shot it walking, and that's one thing, you know, on that walk close it's a tricky one. You want to just be very cognitive of what that shoulder's doing when you do shoot. You know, and when that shoulder's forward is not when you want to shoot that shot. Shoot leg back. But if you can at all, stop the bull and then take the shot.
Yeah, that shoulder can act as a giant shield, honestly, wherever it's moved in front of. So, and then whirling too, they're moving their whole shoulder and covering that whole thing if they're actually turning or something. Definitely be cognizant of that. Man, it's not for everybody, guys, but at the same time, if you are very confident and know where that arrow is going to hit, you can really have a lot more possibilities of shooting elk.
Back a few years ago, and Josh and I, we were hunting together in Eastern Oregon, and that bull that Josh kills is another prime example. Josh had shot a bull previous, so he'd been around a lot of elk, but that was his second bull he's ever killed, and so he shot the frontal shot. Same scenarios. It walks out, and it was a quarter two. He hit perfect height-wise. That arrow buried all the way to the fletch. And so he had full 26, 27 inches of penetration, and that bull went 40 yards and died. And this is one, too, the blood trails generally on a frontal are phenomenal blood trails.
Yeah.
They, you know, you've got a lot of arteries right here coming down the front of that neck. You know, once you have that hold of the cavity, you have lungs, chances are you're going to have sprays, lots of blood, good trailing. So,
and it doesn't, and a lot of people maybe might comment too on, oh, well, you guys shoot high poundage bows and everything. I watched Cody, we didn't have it on film, but I watched Cody with his recurve shoot a bull frontal, a nice Roosevelt 6-point, big bull, big animal. That arrow went clear all the way through it, didn't it?
It was buried to the nock, and it was a 31-inch arrow.
Yeah. I mean, it was
50
so
pounds.
It's not about how much you're pulling. It's not about how strong your bow is. It's about just hitting that perfect spot that you want to hit. And if you do, you're not going to hit anything. All you're going to do is go have a free pass into the vitals.
Yeah, you have that thoracic opening right here, right as the brisket comes up, open. Like I said, it's the size of a cantaloupe. The first time I ever shot a frontal was in Wyoming, 2012. That bull came in, and I shot him at 17 or 18 yards. It was another one of those quartering two, bottom third, and that arrow went through in front of the shoulder blade right here and exited out by the back ham. And so that was one of those like turning points that after watching Trent do that in the Reason, and one of the first frontals that we ever saw, definitely a lethal shot. So,
And we've been very successful with it. I mean, I would say very successful. But don't get overconfident with it.
take your time and execute the
Yeah,
shot. Like,
don't just
pick a spot.
You don't have to shoot that elk as far as everything that comes in. You don't have to just put an arrow in it. Make sure you execute it and pick that spot big time. So, guys, I hope this helps you guys. We've been wanting to do this video for a while, and
yeah, you've seen it. We've done it a bunch, and we just wanted to share what we've learned over the years. And it's definitely one go-to for us. But be comfortable with it. Be confident with it.
that's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you would. And we've got some cool things coming. Land of the Free. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. So
Season is like fast forward
Rapidly
happening
approaching.
right now.
So, all right, guys. We'll see you on the next video.